Hi everyone, today we are going to learn how to print out drawings in the scale of 1 to 100, 1 to 75 and others. To start off, we have to understand that this piece of construction drawings here is drawn up to scale, meaning that the sofa, the coffee tables, they are all drawn up to the dimensions in real life. So, now we want to print this construction drawings on an A4 size paper with a specific printer at the scale of 1 to 100. To draw an A4 size paper, we know that an A4 size paper is 297 millimeters length and 210 millimeters width. 297 by 210. So now we have our A4 size paper constructed here in the scale of 1 to 1. This is an actual scale. You see, if you measure this, it is going to be 297 in actual scale. If you compare it with the pencil also, you can find that this is actually appropriate to say that this A4 size paper is in the scale of 1 to 1. Now if you want to print the entire construction drawings here into this piece of A4 size paper right here in a scale of 1 to 1, it is definitely not going to fit, which is why we introduced the scaling method of scaling in 1 to 100 instead of 1 to 1, because we know that 1 to 1 is not going to fit. We have to decrease the scale from 1 to 1, which is not going to fit, to 1 to 100 in order that the drawing can fit into this particular sheet of paper. So to do so, we are going to check the printing setting first. Ctrl P for print, and then select your printer type as well as your paper size and drawing orientation, and then go to Windows here to select your paper. This is the boundary of your A4 size paper. You see that it is in the scale of almost 1 to 1. In this case, it's 1 to 1.042, where there is a slight deviation due to your printer settings. So we are going to make sure this match accurately, so we scale this paper here. We type in scale and then relative R, and then 1.042 old scale, we want to scale it into 1. And you see that now it is in the most accurate 1 to 1 scale with the settings from your specific printer. See that it is now 1 to 1, or more closer to 1 to 1. So now we want to print this drawing into this A4 paper at a scale of 1 to 100. So we are going to scale this again. Okay, R from, if you remember, 0.9996 to 100. So now that your paper size has been increased 100 times, you will be able to fit your drawings entirely into our paper. This is the same A4 size paper, and now it is going to fit in nicely. So if we put in print again, window, select the edges, you'll see that it shows accurately 1 millimeters to 100 millimeters of scale. If you now want to print the drawing in the scale of 1 to 75 instead, all we are going to do is to just copy this. This is your A4 size paper. and then we scale it instead, or from 100 to 75, and then you adjust the positioning so that your object is entirely covered inside the boundary of your paper, like this. So if you were to print this, you will notice that the scale now of your printing is 1 to 75 if you print this. To explain this, the scale of drawing of 1 to 100 is equal to 1 over 100, 0.01. The scale of drawing for this one is 1 to 75, which is 0.013. Needless to say, the scale of drawing for 1 to 75 is bigger than the scale of drawing for 1 to 100. This is 0.013, this is 0.01. This scale is bigger than this. How do we say so? Because if you imagine this is the A4 paper size that we have scaled in order to be able to have our drawing fitted inside. If you are to print out this drawing, imagine that this is going to be your boundary of your A4 paper. This is going to be your boundary, and your object that you print inside your A4 paper appears to be smaller relative or with respect to your paper size than this one. You are going to have more empty spaces around your object, and your object appears to be smaller or more zoomed out. Whereas in the scale of drawing of 1 to 75, imagine that this is your same A4 paper. You are going to print your drawing out whereby your object size in the center appears to be bigger and more zoomed in than in this case. This one will have lesser or tighter empty spaces around, and your object certainly appeared to be more zoomed in. To conclude, the more zoomed in is your drawing on your paper, the smaller your number will be here in the denominator. So, in other words, in the scale of 1 to 100, your object appears to be smaller relative to your paper size, more empty spaces, and more zoomed out your drawing appears. In the scale of 1 to 75, on the same paper size, A4 size, you are going to have a more zoomed in version, and then tighter empty spaces around, or lesser empty spaces around, and your object appears to be bigger relative to your paper boundary. If you're still struggling to understand this, let me show you a real-life example. So let's say if we copy this drawing out, we are going to copy this drawing out to an empty spaces here to demonstrate to you. So scaling is just an art of zooming in and zooming out. You have to understand that. So now let us zoom out the drawing to something like this. You can see that, imagine that this is your paper size. Imagine, although it is not up to the right width by length scale, but imagine that this is your printed paper size here at the boundary right here. So if you take out a ruler and you were to measure your printed drawings, you can see that in this case 1 centimeter is almost equal to 3000 millimeters in actual. It is not exact, but it is just an illustration. 1 centimeter is almost 3000 millimeters in actual. So you have the scale of 1 centimeter to 3000 millimeters, or 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. You are going to have a scale of 1 to 300. Now that in this case, if you observe, you can see that your paper size is relatively much larger as compared to your object size. You have more empty spaces in between, and it is a more zoomed out version. If you want the more zoomed in version, now I zoomed in my drawings. This is my paper size again. We have not changed the paper size at all, it is just the same. So we take out the ruler and then we measure. Now you can see that the scale becomes bigger at around 3 centimeters of my ruler will equals to 3000 millimeters in actual measurement. So the scale now becomes 3 centimeters to 3000 millimeters, which is 30 millimeters to 3000 millimeters, which is a scale of 1 to 100. So if you see now, this scale is now bigger than this scale. 1 to 100 is bigger than 1 to 300. And if you observe the condition here, your paper size becomes relatively smaller as compared to the case just now. With respect to your object now appears bigger in your printed drawings. This is your paper boundary. And in your paper boundary side, there are lesser empty spaces as compared to just now, and it is a more zoomed in version. And remember that scaling a drawing at different scales for printing is just the act of zooming in and zooming out. In short, to print our object or drawings on the same A4 paper size in a scale of 1 to 300 or a smaller scale, we are going to have a smaller object with relative to your paper size, and you can hardly see the text when the object is so zoomed out in this condition. Whereas if we print our drawings in the size of 1 to 100, which is 3 times bigger the scale than just now, we are going to have the object size relatively bigger or appear to be more zoomed in, and we can see more detailings in our drawings. At the scale of 1 to 1, we are going to have our pencil size equals to the pencil size in real life. But that is certainly going to fit lesser object on the same sheet of paper.